Shrek 3 was greenlit along with Shrek 4 even before Shrek 2 was even released. In March of 2006, they changed the title from Shrek 3 to Shrek the Third to make it quote-unquote stand on its own, quote-unquote, it's not just being a sequel, and to quote-unquote treat it as a chapter of Shrek's life. Whatever excuse they create, they pretty much did it to make the film more marketable and cheesy. A bunch of statistics of the film are reported in Famous magazine, which include 1 million hours for the film to be completed with a crew of 150 people, 2,500 costumes out of 4,500 were used for the film, and 60 new environments were created for the film. Andrew Adamson, who directed the first two films, decided to step down and to take a more reduced role on the production due to his involvement with Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, Witch, and The Wardrobe. The movie starts with Prince Charming being reduced to performing at cheap bars, only to have a meltdown, ranting to his deceased mother that he will avenge her by killing Shrek and becoming king of far, far, far away. Shrek and Fiona are filling her parents' roles as the rulers of far, far away because Harold is sick. Of course, Shrek fails at this because he's an ogre and quickly wants to leave. King Harold the Frog ends up dying after telling Shrek that he's king and that there's only one other person named Timberlake who can be king. Of course, this leads to our lock-in. I have to say that the death scene is actually very gruesome and tacky. For some reason, only the males Shrek, Donkey, and Puss sail away on a road trip to find this Timberlake person. Despite it being obvious to the viewers, Shrek finds out that Fiona is pregnant after she yells it to him as he sails away. How is this going to tie into the main plot? I wonder. Act 2 starts with our favorite trio on the boat, and Shrek has traumatizing dreams about him being a father, which is once again tied to him being an ogre! They make it to this medieval high school that holds all the boring and tried archetypes and stereotypes you can mention. They finally meet Timberlake, who is thrilled to leave because he finally gets to be somebody. Meanwhile, Prince Charming conveniently gathers all the villains with him to raid and attack far, far away, and they eventually get close enough to the princesses. It's kind of contrived and convenient how easily Prince Charming, someone who actually ruined most of these villains' plans, gets all of them on his side so easily and so quickly. Back to the main group. Shrek and Timberlake bicker and oh my gosh. They're setting up this atrociously weak father-son dynamic between the two within a day. I get it that we need to feel some sort of pain or sympathy for Shrek, but we don't even have a backstory about why he feels this way. We got Fiona's background in the last film, but we still don't have Shrek, and he's supposedly an onion. Timberlake is literally a satellite because everything about his arc is so weak and empty. The villains manage to catch up to the princesses as they follow Rapunzel, who led them to a trap and reveal she's with Charming. What? How did this even happen? Charming is barely making ends meet, but manages to have Rapunzel as someone and she doesn't help him out financially or anything. All these random things make little to no sense for the plot. Whatever. Charming and Shrek finally meet, and it's the day where Charming will kill Shrek in front of everyone so he can claim his title as king. Charming meets Timberlake and tells him that he's only king because Shrek refused to. Wouldn't it have been interesting and complex if Charming was Timberlake's father? Of course that's not the case though. Timberlake is mad at Shrek, who's mad at Timberlake because he's mad, and I don't care. Let's get Act 3 over and done with. The princesses escape the prison with the help of Puss and Donkey and manage to make it to Charming's show where Shrek is handcuffed to be murdered in front of everyone. Things aren't going as planned for Charming, and Timberlake returns after he's told by Puss and Donkey that Shrek spared him for being assassinated. Timberlake gives this weak, contrived, and boring speech that conveniently causes the villain to turn on Charming, who is then killed because he has weak combating skills. Timberlake takes his crown as king, while Shrek and company return to the swamp to raise their triplets. Positives. Well, I'll say that the animation does look better than ever. The humans in the Shrek franchise has always looked awkward and bleak, but I think they finally found their footing in this regard with the animation of the humans. Of course the settings and stuff are brilliant to look at, and the motion is not as awkward as it was in the past. It hasn't aged badly at all, which I can't say for some of its predecessors. This may not be a positive, but it didn't force a bunch of extra and unneeded characters in trying to give them a bunch of unneeded camera time. A lot more micromanaging with the cast, though it's still a bit too large. The music is nice-ish, but a lot more forgettable in comparison to its predecessors. As you can see, I was struggling to find positives. Negatives, negatives, negatives. The characters all fell flat in this film. Shrek claimed to be as complex and deep as an onion, but he learns the same lesson in every single film, with not letting him be in Oga, holding him back, and etc. It's just tiring, and we aren't even getting any background or any other insight, so he just comes off as even more flat. Donkey and Puss are barely in the film, and their humor is a complete miss. Fiona is barely in the film, and we don't get to see how she's struggling to adapt with being pregnant. And her grieving mother is ignored too. Timberlake isn't even a character, and it's more of a cheap plot device, and Charming being the main villain just wasn't handled well at all, though I see where they were going with it. Honestly, my main gripe is that the film is just a bore fest. I like Shrek despite its slow pace, so that's not the reason why I think this film is boring, though it did play somewhat of a part of it. They tried to establish this father-son dynamic, only with 1 or 2 scenes, but it comes off as forced because they rush into it, but also barely delve into it at the same time. It's like dipping your toe in the shallow end, but not swimming to the deep end, and acting like you took a swim. While I am glad that they did not try to make us laugh as much as they did in the second film, it still would have helped get through this dreary film if they added some sort of clever humor. Of course, the pop culture references are at an all-time high, despite its lack of humor in its dialogue. Overall, the film is just dreary and almost nothing new or interesting came out of it. When the film was released on May of 2007, it made $322 million domestically and $476 million in foreign territories, calculating to a worldwide amount of right under $800 million. It is the 4th highest grossing film of 2007 and the highest grossing animated film of that year, and at the time, the 3rd highest grossing animated film ever, behind its immediate predecessor and, I believe, Finding Nemo. Despite this, it took a huge hit with the critics, audience, and accolades for the negative. Many cited that the pop culture references and humor took over the wit, charm, and the heart that its predecessors had in their own films. It was ignored throughout award season, which is bad since the Shrek franchise was the only time up to this point in DreamWorks' history where they would receive significant attention in that aspect. It's been 4 years since they got out of traditional animation, and they are back under a dark age a few years later. The Shrek formula backfired on DreamWorks' other original content, and a few years later, it wasn't even working for the franchise itself. This was around the time where the general audience started seeing DreamWorks as a joke and further carrying the stigma of animation is just for kids. With the public starting to turn on the franchise that became the face of the company and the other original content not doing well, it became clear that another franchise needed to appear and something else needed to severely change. Shrek the Third definitely helped the studio out financially to recoup the losses from Flushed Away and splitting from Aardman Animation, so at least a positive came from this product. Flanderization took over the film without adding what made its predecessors well-liked to begin with, and this film is a prime example of what often happens with franchise-itis. This film, and the film after this, is often considered to be the mid-year and 11th hour, darkest hour of DreamWorks Animation, and there was some worry that the company would be forgotten, as WDAS was turning things around for the better and Pixar was still dominant. DreamWorks has been at rock bottom more often than they have been sky high, as things never stay good for long at the company. Another point that I forgot to mention is that celebrity casting became a very apparent and huge to everyone, and it quickly became a turnoff. For some reason they thought it would be a selling point, but it didn't really help as much as the company thought it would.